Right.
Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Thank you for having me.
What is your position with Bamboo Bend? You're the current president of the board?
I currently serve as president of Bamboo Bend, and I'm a former student of Bamboo Bend.
And when were you a student?
2016.
And when did Bamboo Bend start?
I believe their first year was 2012, and I took over as president in, do the math here, 2017.
How did it start? Whose idea was this?
Two gentlemen get credit for this program. One's name is Jim Audevere, and the other one's Vic Edwards. On the shore of the Manistee River, probably over a glass or two of sipping whiskey, the two gentlemen, Vic Edwards and Jim Audevere, came up with the idea that is now Bamboo Bend. It originally started as just a veteran fishing trip, and then they thought they could do maybe something more, add something to it besides just a few days of fishing, and they added the rod building because here at Lovells in Grayling area there's a lot of rod building expertise, and they decided to tap into that expertise. And boy, the volunteers, once the word spread, the volunteer rod makers came out of the woodwork to participate in the program. Some of them veterans, some of them not, and we've been rolling with it ever since. We started with, back then there were 6 students, now we've expanded to 8 students, and 8 students a year come through and they all walk away with their own handmade split bamboo fly rod.
Were these gentlemen that conceived of this veterans?
Both of them veterans, U.S. Army veterans.
And
yes.
you too?
I am a United States Marine Corps veteran, 23 years, and I retired in 2013.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it was a good time, and I tell people the military is a great life, but it's not for everybody. But it was definitely a good choice for me.
Okay, well, thanks for your service.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So why does this program work as well as it does?
There's probably different answers, but I think it works because of all the volunteers that come together. And let me emphasize that everyone involved in Bamboo Bend, myself, all the board members, all the instructors, everybody involved is a volunteer. Nobody gets reimbursed for anything. And that means that any donation made, 100% of that donation goes to the program. There is no overhead, zero overhead, which is, I don't think there's a whole lot of nonprofit organizations out there, and we are a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization. Not many of them can honestly say that they have 0% overhead.
You do get corporate sponsorships, correct?
We do. Coincidentally, I am, by pure coincidence, I am wearing an Enbridge hat today. They gave us a very generous donation to make this class possible, and we also get a lot of private donations.
And that covers the hard costs, the bamboo, the reels, the lines.
All the rod materials, the food, the lodging, the travel expenses. We have students in this particular class, they're from the Midwest region, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, of course, Indiana, Ohio, I believe there's a student. There's 2 from Virginia, out of the Midwest. Some years we have students from, Florida, Alaska, California, Maine, everywhere in between, and they pay from the time they leave their front door, the time they get here, and to the time they go back home to their front door. They pay for nothing. Everything's covered. And the only requirement is that they are honorably discharged veterans from any era, any service.
And so to date, how many program participants have there been?
Actually, I did the math yesterday. Our 87th rod will be produced this week.
Wow.
So we're getting close to that magic 100 mark.
Are all of these guys fly fishermen?
They are. That's a requirement. Well, I shouldn't say requirement, but it's a soft requirement. Not much sense having a fly rod if you're not a fly fisherman. And the other requisite is that they have to have built at least one rod. Graphite, fiberglass, doesn't matter. Spinning rod, casting rod, fly rod, doesn't matter. As long as they have built one rod and have some working knowledge of the process that they're going through.
Are there any other requirements?
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Other than, well, you have to be here for the whole class. We've had a few in the past, barring a family emergency, but we've had some requests to, hey, I can't be there on the Wednesday, I have to go home and then I'll come back. No, you have to be here for the whole time. Otherwise, someone else is building your rod for you in your absence. And that's just not fair to everybody else.
Yeah. What kind of reasons do the veterans have for participating, for joining?
Well, the reasons vary. I mean, we have 20-somethings. We've had active duty men and women come through. 20-somethings to Vietnam era, maybe even a Korea era or 2 have come through. And, you don't have to be injured. You don't have to be wounded. Like I said, any veteran. Some of them are wounded. Some of them are injured, and not all wounds are visible, and I think we all understand that in this day and age. And many of them, not all of them, but many of them are dealing with some mental challenges. Some of them are definitely dealing with some physical healing challenges. And I like to use the analogy of, if your hands are busy, your brain is busy. If your brain is busy, your brain isn't focused on what's ailing you, whether it be mental or physical or both. So there's a lot of veteran programs out there. Some build guitars, some build birdhouses, some build surfboards. There are all kinds of programs out there. Fly rods. They all capitalize on that concept of keeping your hands busy and your mind busy, and suddenly whatever burden you have bothering you is gone for a little while, and then, hey, I did that for a little while, maybe I can do it for a little bit longer. And I'm speaking from personal experience. So it's part of the healing process. It by no means heals you, but it helps.
So you started as a participant. Do you have other participants that have come back to give back to the program and volunteer?
Absolutely. My current operations officer was a student a couple years after I was. Jim Bensinger, our volunteer chef, who does a wonderful job. He was a student with me in 2016. We have 2 instructors who are former students, so we like to grow our own. And I realized that a year or 2 into this, that a lot of the experienced fly rod makers are getting a little old and great wealth of experience, but they're not going to be here forever. So we try to get interest in some of those that they're planing the strips and they get that gleam in their eye and they're like, hey, I want to do some more of this. And those are the ones we identify them. We try to send them home with a little bit of equipment, and if they can build a fly rod or 2 in the year until next class, we invite them back as a as an instructor to carry on the tradition.
Can you share any other stories about how this has affected the lives of some of the participants?
I thought you said you didn't have any questions prepared. Those are great. Those are great questions. Sure, I've received phone calls, I've received letters and emails, months, even years after the fact, from former students saying, and their spouses or their other family members, mothers, and Vic Edwards relays similar stories, the prior president, of, cards and letters and calls of thank you, you've changed my life, you've changed my husband's life. He's a member of our family again after he got back from the fly rod. And Vic relays the story of how the father, veteran, was very reclusive, very quiet, and didn't spend a lot of time with his family, heavily medicated, just distant, came to the class, went back, put that beautiful fly rod on his mantle, and they're meant to be fished, but you can put them on your mantle during the off season. And then the kids started asking questions, and then he opened up. It's like, well, here, I did this involved the scraping of the enamel, and then we had to wrap the guides and all this varnish and the seating of the handles and the cork, and he opened up, and suddenly he was a father again. And that was one of the wives that called and said, just, wow, what you guys are doing is wonderful, and please keep doing it. And personally, I wish we could do it several times a year and have a lot more than 8 vets coming through, but we're limited. Again, since we're all volunteers, we're taking essentially 10 or 12 days out of our lives and doing this, and it's hard. It's hard to do that more than once a year, honestly. So, and especially when your volunteer base is relatively small and traveling, in some cases, long distance. Some of my volunteers, several of them came from Virginia, one came from California, and from there to here in Lovells, Michigan, not only time consuming, it's expensive. So most of them can only do it once a year.
Has there ever been any discussion of making it an enterprise, of hiring staff and having to have it occur more than once a year?
There has. I don't know if I would call it serious discussions, because it gets shut down pretty quickly, because our center of gravity, common denominator, is the instructor, and there's just a finite number of people with the skills and availability to do this. So there's been talk of branching out into other parts of the country where there are more rod makers, but I think for now we're going to keep it small and hometownish, and perhaps someday explore the possibility of expanding.
So you guys get to go fishing together before the week's over?
We do. We have one day of fishing on Friday, which is the 6th or 7th day on the schedule. I lose track. I think it's the 6th day. And yeah, we've got a great base of guides, some of them true professional guides in this area that, again, volunteer their expertise, their time, their boats, their equipment to take a veteran fishing. And so grateful for that, and those guides that do that. And some of them do it every year. Some of them, they call me in advance and they're like, hey, when are we doing it? When are we doing it? And some of them just can't do it because they have other jobs and life gets in the way sometimes. So we reach out, and we generally have more guides than we have students, which is a good problem to have. So we try to rotate through the guides and give them all an opportunity. They all insist on volunteering. I've offered them, in-kind donation receipts for tax write-offs. Nope, don't want to even discuss it. So they're a great bunch of fishermen and a great bunch of people.
Great. Are there any other sponsors besides Enbridge you'd like to mention? Some of our more private donations and some large ones have specifically requested to remain anonymous. So on media like this, I just can't do it. But a lot of personal, small donations, that $50, $100. I thought of another one, the 406 fly lines. that each student gets issued. Those are all donated. The furled leaders that we get, Hog Creek furled leaders, those are all donated. So grateful to those guys, and they're always, offering us stuff, and it's so meaningful to get stuff like that, because it saves my budget. I don't have to go out and buy them, and a lot of the local vendors here in the Lovells area give us great discounts on food and products, rod making materials. A lot of people stop by and like, hey, we heard you guys are back in town. Here's a couple dozen cookies. Please enjoy. And we do. And I'll open up the invitation to really anybody out there in the Lovells area. Anytime we're here and you want to come see what we're doing, you don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to even be from Lovells. Sometimes they just stop by and they're fishing for the week or the weekend, and they want to see what we're doing, and they stop in and they meet a couple of veterans and they watch the rod making process in action, and if you're lucky, you'll see that gleam in their eye as they're planing the strips, and yeah, he's one of them.
Do you have a website or a social media presence?
We do. We're on Facebook, Bamboo Bend. Just Google Bamboo Bend Facebook, and it will pop up. And we do daily. When we're in session, we do daily updates, numerous, generally daily updates, and you can, from afar, you can keep track of what's going on with us. And there's also a PayPal link on there where you can make a donation. Yes.
Great. Where are you from?
I'm from Ashland, Wisconsin, the northern tip of Wisconsin, right on Lake Superior.
I know where it is. I used to live in Wakefield, Ironwood.
Okay, yeah, almost neighbors, right on the other side of the border.
Yeah,
right on the shores of Lake Superior, and great place to live. And I grew up there, and I joined the military from there, and the entire 23 years I was in the military, I traveled the world, I traveled the country. I kind of had in the back of my mind the whole time that if I find a place better than Ashland, that's where I'm going to retire to. And I never did. And I moved back to Ashland after I retired, and I'm still there.
Nice place.
It is. It's wonderful. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks very much for sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me. You're welcome.
Dean Medham, I'm the treasurer of Bamboo Bend.
Dean Medham, treasurer of Bamboo Bend.
Yep.
How long have you been involved?
Just 3 years. I came in 2023.
And how did you find out about it? How did you land here?
A couple of my good friends have been instructing. Dave Jankowski's the lead instructor, and Rod Jenkins. And we come up and fish, and they keep talking about it. And 3 years ago, go, hey, another guy, Rod Rebant, he's getting ready to retire. How'd you like to be the treasurer of Bamboo Bend? And I have a terrible time saying no, so I said yes. What does it involve? And I said, Rod will show you, and he did. So.
And what does it involve?
Basically, collecting all the money, trying to pay everybody, working with Chris Weichel's a guy that really kind of manages what we need, what we don't need, and then Dave's looking at what we need to physically build the rods, and so it's writing the checks and not really soliciting donations. They quite frankly just kind of come our way, and we've, as Mark said earlier, we've got some pretty generous people that are really.
How do you get people's attention?
Well, we have gone to the Fly Show in it used to be Southfield. It's in Macomb, the Michigan Fly Fishing Expo, I think is what it's technically called. And we've had a booth there and just try to tell people who we are. We do have little pamphlets that explain what we do. And of course, we love to talk to people about it. You see people see a bamboo rod, they go, "Oh, how's that happen? Where's that from?" And get to talk to them about it. And people just, I'm kind of blown away. They just seems like okay, what do you need? What can we do to help you? So we're blessed in that regard.
Excellent. What's your annual budget for this event?
We figure about $20,000 a year, and we work with another group at this point that Project Healing Waters, and there's kind of covers some different things, but it's that's for, as Mark said, that's everything's covered for these guys. The lodging, the everything, literally we're down to the leaders even, so they go away with a complete outfit there.
What do you think is the best part of Bamboo Bend?
I'm just amazed at the volunteers. I've never been in an organization like this. This is a lot of guys that were military guys. I'm a Navy vet. We're pretty competitive dudes, and there was a lot of sharp elbows when we were out working, but everybody puts their ego aside. And I mean, I'm just blown. I've never seen an organization that can work like that, where it's not about us, it's about these guys, and everybody is completely focused, and it's contagious, and that just, when the egos get out of the way, it's amazing what can happen. And I'm generally pretty cynical about the world, but this kind of just recharges my faith in humanity.
So let's talk about your sponsors and where you get your money and other people that help you out.
Okay, well, there are, as Mark talked about, the donations. People kind of want to remain quiet about it. They wish to be anonymous, and I get that. But we do get some real big help from North Branch Outing Club right here in Lovells. And we had another tremendous donation of a place to stay for all our. And North Branch Outing Club is where the students stay. Thunderbird Club, I believe it's called, on the main branch, they have donated their place for all of our instructors and staff to stay. So it keeps our costs down. I mean, basically instructors and staffs were donating their time and paying their own way, but it's a kind of nice place to stay. So they've been just wonderful.
That's good. Do you have a favorite day in the program of the week? Fishing day or planing?
No, it's definitely the wrap-up day when we have our banquet where the vets are presented with their finished rod and they go out and cast it. And it's like, wow, this is what it's all about, So now that's definitely the highlight for me. And I thank everybody in the program.
So how would you like to ask people to get in touch with you if they want to send you money?
Well, they can through our Facebook page. They also can, I'm the treasurer, and so they can send it to me. It's at Bamboo Bend, care of Dean Medham, at 3354 Tupelo Court, Oakland, Michigan, 48363. And that is how we get physically most of our donations come by snail mail to me. So.